So one thing I also do with the horses that I have in training is that I always check their feet. And this horse, her heel is quite narrow, you know. Her toe is the widest, the side of the toe, and the toe is really wide in the front and very narrow in the back. And it should really be quite the opposite. So she doesn't have a lot of heel. And it's also a little bit uneven. And I feel like she's a little bit swollen back here. Yeah. So very low heels, you know. It's not a lot to support the back part of the hoof. And it's quite similar with all her feet. And this is one of the hind feet. And it's the same. There is no heel. And this is really a typical problem. I don't know what it is, but for some reason a lot of farriers will trim the heel completely low, completely off. And the horse will not have any support in the back part of the hoof. So they won't get any frog stay, they won't develop the hoof atomically correct, and it's going to be painful for them to move. So it's a shame, but it's the same here. The heels are completely trimmed all the way down, so there is nothing supporting the back part of the hoof really. And then this part is going to be a little bit swollen because all the stuff inside the hoof that should be in the hoof wall, in the heel, it's squeezed. There is no room for all of the things that are in the back part of the hoof. So it also looks a little bit uneven, a little bit like crooked. On this hoof it's really clear how narrow the heels are, you know. They're squeezed all the way in here when they should be on the outside, on the side. It's really narrow. And it's a little bit the same here. Very, very low heels, very big and swollen back here. Extremely narrow heel. So it's a bit contracted then. Yeah, she doesn't have a lot of support in the back part of the hoof. And this is swollen as well. It's such a typical problem and it needs to change. This is not anatomically correct, you know. And it's gonna lead to injuries and problems and pain. And she will also not move her body correctly or put weight on her body correctly. So it's gonna be strange for her to build a strong top line, build proper muscles. Yeah. When the hooves are not that good. So this is an example of the swollen thing that I'm talking about. So these are before and after photos of my horse Bonus. And when we lived in Spain, we had a farrier that cut off his heel, and it was really bad. He didn't want to move, he didn't want to do anything until I realized how bad it was. And you can see how swollen this area is, you know, it's like it's about to burst. And then the photo on the right, it's more how the hoof is supposed to look. You can see it's more relaxed, it's not swollen, and this is after I started to learn how to trim myself and let the heels grow. So this is kind of similar to what's happening to this horse. She's quite similar to the photo on the left. She's very swollen, there is no support in the back part of the hoof, and it's going to be really painful for her to move. It's a beautiful day, a little windy. Yeah. Let's start. So this is, she's quite new, this horse. So we're gonna start with some groundwork. I'm just gonna start with walking around, leading her, and checking her focus. So starting with the leading exercise, it's great to kind of check that the horse is focused and paying attention. So if I'm stopping and backing up, I want to make sure that she pays attention. Now you can tell she backed up, but she's completely into my space. And it's understandable because of the wind, and the walls might be a little bit scary. Good. But I want to make sure that even if we are backing up, she can't go into my space, you know? She can't go in my way, because then there's no room for me to move. So it doesn't matter if we're walking ahead or if we are walking backwards. She needs to kind of pay attention and not step into my space. So we're gonna try again. Back up, and you can tell she's coming in here, and then there is no place for me. You gotta move. Good. And she's quite like, good. And you know, I think it's the wall today because it's a lot of noise. So I don't want to make it way too hard. I'm going to step out of the wall a little bit. No. 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 Good. I don't want her into my space. And yeah, she's a little bit like, she's not exactly a sensitive horse, I would say. At least not physically. It's like she's used to not being that sensitive with the communication. Because whenever I tell her to move or do something, I need to add quite a lot of energy for her to actually care and move. So I may start here. A little bit better. Good. Still a little bit into my space, but it was better. Yeah, I need to use quite a lot of energy each time I ask her to do something. It's not like I can only do a little bit. I need to kind of use some energy for her to move. And this is an ex-Trot horse. So, you know, you never know what these horses have been through. I'm not saying that all race horses have a bad life, but very often these horses does not have that great life. And now she's not really moving the hind legs. Good, better. So one thing we're practicing is for her to be able to move and bend the neck. She's quite stiff in the way she's moving. And then moving the front and the shoulder as well. There you go. Good, good. Good. So she's here to learn to be a little bit more obedient, I would say. The owner tells me that whenever you kind of ask her or challenge her a little bit, she will get stubborn and kind of refuse, or maybe get angry or buck, throw off the rider. And I think this horse, she doesn't know a lot. She's quite green. We're going to try on this side. And it's a lot of wind, you know? So she might react a little bit to the wall. Let's see if she can back up here without going into my space. This is good. Really good. So the stopping and backing up, she's getting more sensitive. I don't need to wave the rope. It's enough to kind of just use some energy here. And this is enough for her to back up. And I would like it to be like that in all the exercises. So here she's a little bit slow. I'm guiding my hand forward and she's kind of a little bit behind. I'm going to ask her to move a little bit faster. Come on. I don't like dragging horses. I want them to move with me. So if I'm speeding up, I need her to speed up as well. Good. There you go. And if I slow down, I want her to slow down. Good. Really good. Speed up. Speed up. She's a little bit behind still. Let's go, let's go. Stop. Back up. Getting really good on this side. Good job. Ah. Yeah, so she's here to learn a few different things. Yeah. And also one thing they wanted me to teach her is the cue for canter when you ride. But I can tell that this horse, she doesn't have a lot of muscle. The top line is quite weak. And now you need to step under. There you go. And it's not that easy for her to canter, obviously, because she's an ex-trot racehorse. Moving the front. Moving the front. Good. Good. But you can tell her top line is quite pointy and slim. So she doesn't have a lot of muscle. Not a lot in the neck. Stop. There's not a lot in the neck. There's nothing in the back really. It's really pointy. And then the hind as well. So she needs to build up a lot of muscle, you know. So I can imagine that the behavior they're experiencing is because of her. Number one, not understanding. And number two, it might be too challenging for her. She might also have some pain in her feet because of the hooves are not that great. So it might just be her way of saying this is too much for me, you know? So she needs to build up some confidence and strength. Yes. All right. And one thing I've also been noticing, like the first lesson or the first session I had with her, has somebody taught you to kiss? It looks like it. Yes, it looks like it. She didn't understand much, you know? She didn't understand anything. So she needs to learn the meaning of the rein and of different cues. She needs to feel confident and understand what the different cues are. If not, it's going to be difficult for her. And when you're lunging her, this way. She's very like slow moving. And I can tell also when she's walking, she's landing on her toe. With both the front feet and the hind feet. And horses should not land on their toes. They should actually land quite flat, almost a little bit with the heel first, and then kind of roll over, especially with the front legs. But this horse, she's landing on her toe with the front legs and the back legs. So the toe is the first thing that is landing on the ground. So whenever she's moving like this, you know, landing on the toe. So it's a little bit weird for her to move. You can try yourself to try to run and be athletic and all the time land on your toe. It's not normal. So this can also be a reason why she doesn't want to move. She doesn't want to do that much. Because it's painful for her to move. Her hooves are not good. And then, when I'm lunging her around, it's hard to kind of get her focus in towards me. So one thing we have been practicing is her being able to move and bend the neck and try to focus in. So I'm practicing this with her. I'm trying to see if I can get more of a bend in her body. Good. 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 Good job. Good. And we have also been practicing her standing still and bending the head like this. So if I pull one rein, like if I put the rein over here and I pull the rein, she will bend the neck. She did not know how to do this, so she would just move in a circle and trot in a circle. She did not understand. So, but now she understands more the meaning of this rein. The rein is to communicate about the head and the neck. And if you're going to ride her and she doesn't know the meaning of the rein, it's going to be really hard and challenging to ride her. It can also be a little bit dangerous because you're not going to be able to keep the control. Good. But now she's starting to think more and she's starting to understand a little bit more. Also, one thing I want her to understand is that I'm not going to ask her for too much challenging things. Gotta move. She can be quite slow. But you can tell the way she's moving, she's not really moving that well. So you can tell like I'm waving quite a lot and she doesn't really care, you know. It's also typical with these ex-trot racehorses that they are kind of used to a little bit more harsh communication and they get really desensitized to many things. So I'm going to try to teach her to be a little bit more sensitive. Yes, it's good. Good. Move, move. She knows to bend. And move as well a little bit. Yep. I know you can bend now. But you got to move as well. Good. Move and bend. She's like, I know how to bend. Okay. It's a good effort. You're at least trying. Yes. But we need some energy as well. Good. Move. 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 But now she's really searching in for the bend. Just need to get the shoulder. Good. 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 Good job. So the goal will be when she finished the training here, when you lunge her, she's going to keep the focus more in towards the person instead of out on everything that's happening outside. Yes. And I'm going to bend on this side as well. Really good. Good. Good job. Good job. Good job. Okay, we'll try on the other side as well. So I may start with lunging her out here normally. And I'm just guiding her around. And then I'm kind of moving my energy a little bit back in towards her to see if she can start to bend and pay attention in towards me. Good. And she will bend if she stops. Good. 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 She's trying to bend a little bit. Good. Bra. Bra. Go. Bra. 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 No. Maga. 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 Bra. 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 Focus. Good. Bra. Bra. But now at least the process of her thinking about bending has started. Yes. It's still a little bit confusing to her that she can actually move while bending. She's quite like stiff. She thinks that when she's moving she needs to be straight. So it's a little bit strange for her. But she's starting to get it. So once she understands this well in a walk, I'm going to try to do it in a trot as well. So you can tell, as soon as I'm starting to lead her out now, she's focusing in. Good? 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 So I really want her to almost look in towards me and move. Good? Go. Go. Good? Ah, flink. Good. It's really good progress from yesterday. Yes. But I can tell, like, when she's moving, it's hard for her to kind of separate the neck and the shoulder. So if she's turning in, that shoulder really wants to follow. But it needs to kind of be separate. You need to be able to only move the neck and only move the shoulder. But for her, she's kind of, wherever the neck goes, the shoulder just follows. So it's a little bit difficult. Yes. Okay. We need to practice the canter a little bit as well. So I have to ask her to trot a little bit. And then we're just going to practice the canter cue. Yes. And I'm going to show you how I practice this. I'm going to use this lunge whip, just so I can give her some more rope. Good. Ut travel. Good. And even now, if she's starting to think about looking in, I will reward her for thinking about that. Good. So let's see if we can get her first in a trot. And then again, you can tell that she's landing on the toe, and the heel is the last thing landing. The only reason for this is that it's painful for them to land on the heel and put weight on the heel. And that's because the hooves are not able to support her weight. And you can tell she doesn't really want to move. And this is the reason. It's painful for her to move. So I'm not going to ask her to move for a long time. It's only going to be a little bit. So I'm going to give her the cue for canter. Bra. As soon as she goes into a canter, I will stop and reward. Good. And because I know that she feels uncomfortable and she's not moving properly, I feel a bit bad pushing her forward. I don't think she's a lazy horse. There's a reason she's acting this way. But that's why I'm only going to do it a little bit, so she feels like it's okay. I can manage that, And then when she comes home, she can only work a little bit. Her feet can get better. And maybe when she starts to take a little bit more initiative, you can start to work her a little bit more as well. Yes. And then she gets to rest, Okay, we're going to try one more time, the same way. And see if she can go into canter a little bit more fast. So I'm giving her a lot of room because I know she's not going to be able to canter in the small circle. Bra, flink. Bra. And you can also tell her, a little bit upset about going into a canter. And yeah, it's a little bit strange because she's an ex-trot horse, and typically they get punished when they try to canter. So it might be a little bit awkward for her now that it's normal. Now it's okay. Yes, now it's okay. And you can tell now on the lunge she's really looking out. You can tell? Looking out and away. This is not ideal. You would like the horse to focus in. When you're lunging, focus in towards you. So we're going to work on that. But for now, as long as she's only going to be able to do that like in a slow walk on a small circle. So when I'm out here, she's not thinking about bending in at all. You can tell. She's just looking out. Go into a trot. I'm speeding up. Bra. One thing I also might think is the reason she's struggling with going into the canter is that it's obviously a bit challenging for her to canter. It's not her strength, you know? And maybe when she has been asked to canter before, it might have been to canter for a little while, you know? Maybe a little bit too much compared to what is her comfort level. So I think for now, if you're only asking her to go into the canter, just do the transition, and then just canter 2-3 steps, that's it for now. And then you work on transitions instead. But you don't canter for a long time each time. Then she's going to build up more confidence. She's going to get rewarded each time. And she's going to take initiative to actually go into the canter because she will know that it's manageable. You know, it's not going to be that challenging. She doesn't have to canter very long. It's not going to be hard. It's just the transition, get in, practice these muscles. Good. But she's very comfortable standing still, you know? She really just prefers not to do too much. Even in this windy weather, it's the first time she's in here when the walls are kind of blowing and moving. It's a lot of sound, and she's just standing there. So we're going to try to do the canter one more time to the right. And you can tell I need to use quite a lot of energy for her to actually move. Good. Good. Bra. So for now, I just want this routine to kind of sink in. That she will know that each time I ask for the canter, it's only this little bit, and she will get the treats. And hopefully, in a few more days, she's going to go into the canter a lot more easily. And before I try this from horseback, I need this to be good from the ground. I need her to understand. Good. And I don't want to ask her too many times either. So we're just going to leave it at that for now. And then one thing I've also been practicing is to back up with the head down. One thing that's really great is that her owners are only riding her bitless, so I love that. That's really good. So I want to help them get started a little bit with the technical cues for the bitless riding as well. One thing that's really important is that when you put some pressure on the rein, the horse should search down. They should not get tense and take the head up. So I'm teaching her that the pressure on the nose, so whenever you grab the rein or you put some pressure on the reins, you're going to add some pressure on the nose. So I'm teaching her whenever she feels pressure on the nose, she needs to lower the head and back up. And the reason it's really good to start this with the backing up is that they will think about moving the weight back as well, which is really great when you're starting to work on the collection. So I'm going to add a little bit of pressure on the noseband here. And she will lower the head and release. Good. And we have been practicing this a little bit, so now I'm just trying to get it a little bit more. There you go, good. So when she's backing up, I want there to be no pressure on the rein, on the rope. I want her to keep her neck searching down without any tension. So she needs to hold the neck alone. I don't want to hold it physically. So it takes a little bit of practice to get good at this. But she's starting to get the hang of it now. So here the head is too much out. She's not giving in there. She's releasing the pressure, releasing the pressure, releasing the pressure. Good. Really good. So she's getting a lot more sensitive on certain exercises, like the backing up is getting really good. And the stopping and backing up, it's getting good. And she's starting to understand the bend as well. So I want to try that again. So like the riding is the #1 priority with this horse, so I'm going to practice exercises that will help me when I'm riding her. Good? Yes, you're bending, that's really good, but you need to move. Good. Good. Ja, bra. Men gå. Gå og bøye. Gå. Bra. Men gå. Bra, bra, bra. So when she just manages a little bit, I'm going to reward. Good. Good. Good, good, good. Good job. Good job. Yes. You're starting to get the hang of it. Yes, you are. So ideally, I want to add my hand a little bit where my inside leg would be. But for this to work with her, I need to move a little bit more back to kind of push the hind around. And at the same time, try to keep the shoulder moving on the circle. Good. Bra. 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 Focus. Bra. 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 Good. Yes. Yes. So in the beginning, it's important to just look for these small improvements and recognize when she's trying to figure it out. Yes. And, you know, in the beginning, when you practice something new, it's not going to be perfect right away. You have to practice a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. So I'm moving here. Good. Good. Bra. 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 Good. But this is really nice, you know, she's softening up, like mentally, physically. So being able to bend, it's really good for them to learn to be flexible, bendable, balanced. And it's going to help you to control the horse a lot better. It's also going to help them to keep the focus in at the person when you ride and when you work from the ground. So bending is something I work on a lot with my horses. Good. Good. So I'm mostly waiting for her to bend. Good. But then she's stopping. Good. Good. Move. Good. And if I feel like she's not trying, I'm gonna good, bra. Add some pressure on the rein or on the rope as well. Good, bra. Flink da. Flink jente. Bra. Veldig bra. Good. Good. So with these exercises, she's going to learn to understand the meaning of this rain. You know, so you can actually communicate. And she will understand. Good. Good. Bend. Good. Good. Good job. So she's going to practice like this a few more days. And then I'm going to start to ride and practice pretty much the same. Yeah. If I'm going to ask her to trot, it's only going to be a little bit. And the canter is only going to be the transition. Maybe by the end of the stay here, we can canter down the long side. But I don't think you should push this horse too much, you know. Her whole vibe is like she feels uncomfortable. She doesn't really want to move. And I'm sure if she's out on a trail ride or something like that, she might have some extra energy. But the thing is that horses will move even if they have pain. They will play, they will run. They are really trying to hide it, especially if they are together with other horses. They will try not to show. But this is what we are working on. Yes. Good girl. So my goal is that hopefully she is going to be a little bit more positive and take a little bit more initiative. She's going to understand the cues and she's going to be a little bit more interested. And she will also understand that it's not going to be that physically challenging. We're going to keep in mind that her feet are not that good and she might have some pain in the body. Because of that, and as her feet gets better, I know the owners are aware of her bad feet and they are working on getting them better. And as the hooves improve, she will be able to do more and she will take more initiative to be a part of the training and move her body. It's going to feel better for her. Yeah.